Now, Bridget, you asked about this earlier. You said we need more snake content on News Breakfast.
I certainly did not.
And you
know that this
received.
is my biggest fear in the world, but it is serious business in Queensland at the moment because snake catchers are urging the public to be cautious after 7 people, James, were hospitalised from snake bites over the weekend. For more on this, we're joined by the owner of Snake Catcher 24/7, Stuart McKenzie. And Stuart, it sounds like you really have been working 24/7. Tell us about what your work's looked like in the past couple of weeks.
Yes, it's been a very, very busy couple of weeks, or very busy couple of months, in fact. January and February, we've essentially broken records for the amount of snake calls that we've attended. And obviously on top of that, we've got a lot more calls and messages, inquiries coming in where we're just giving free advice or identifying snakes. But yeah, plenty of snakes on the move at the moment.
And have you attended any bites, Stuart, or have you been working at houses where people have been bitten?
We have had a few scenarios where that's occurred. I actually had one the other day, probably about a week and a half ago now, where a young fella had actually picked up a snake at a playground up in Budrum, and he decided to relocate it, think it was a tree snake. And when he got bitten by it when he relocated it, and he thought he was doing the right thing, you know, snake around a playground, kids everywhere. Obviously, he did the wrong thing, should have called a snake catcher, and about 20 minutes later, his hand started to swell, and that's when he called me. And I happened to be only 2 minutes away, so I rushed over. He didn't have a pressure bandage or anything to wrap his hand up, so I quickly rushed over, and thankfully I was able to identify the snake as a yellow-faced whip snake, which are still considered mildly venomous and potentially dangerous, but it wasn't an eastern brown snake or a red belly or one of our highly venomous species, which is very lucky. But obviously I think the day before that, there was that viral video that went around of that gentleman who thought he had a tree snake in his hands, and it was an eastern brown snake. And he nearly died. He got bitten, and the only reason probably he survived was he put the video of the snake up on social media on an ID page, and someone was able to identify it immediately as an eastern brown and told him to bandage it and go to hospital and do all the correct things, and that basically saved his life.
So, Stuart, why are we seeing so many snakes moving around? Is it the weather? What's going on up there in Queensland?
In Queensland, we're busy as snake catchers, and there's snake movements for probably about 9 to 10 months of the year. So this isn't uncommon or unheard of. I just don't know if, with the urban sprawl up here and so much development happening and so many people moving to southeast Queensland, I think the snake confrontations and the amount that there is definitely increasing. I don't think snake numbers are increasing as such. I think, you know, they haven't really probably changed. If anything, they might be declining because of all this, development and people and confrontations. But the snake interactions between humans and snakes is definitely on the increase.
So interesting. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people moving into Queensland at the moment. And Stuart, what's your advice for people? Because you've seen these videos of people picking up a snake, which, trust me, Stuart, I will never, ever do that. I've grown up around snakes and I know to stay right away. But look, a lot of people don't realise that you just never, ever touch a snake. What would be your advice for people if they're out in the yard or at a playground, in the house, where they've seen a snake?
A lot of it comes down to common sense and just respecting that animal. Just because it's in your yard doesn't mean it's after you or your kids or your pets or anything like that. It might just be passing through. It all comes down to that respect for snakes. And if you have a snake in your yard or in your house, it's just about keeping a safe distance and always call a snake catcher. Like, we don't have to come out every single time. We do charge fees, and obviously at the moment, times are a bit tough and money's tight for people, but at least give us a call and we can discuss the situation with you and come up with a plan. But yeah, the main thing is do not touch them. Do not try and relocate them yourself. Do not try and kill them. All of those things are illegal. And there's rules in place for the safety of people and also our snakes. Yeah,
good common sense advice there, Stuart. Just quickly before we let you go, what's the most unusual situation you found yourself in the past couple of weeks in terms of people calling you for help?
Past couple of weeks. I reckon it's like a lot of pythons at the moment, and pythons in weird places. But I reckon, because we don't get a heap of brown snakes at the moment, but we did get a brown snake probably 2 weeks ago, where when we arrived, a lot of people think that brown snakes and venomous snakes in general can't climb. But we got there and it was a house that was actually on stilts, and it was probably around 3 to 4 metres off the ground. And this probably 5-foot eastern brown snake was right up in the rafters underneath the house and just cruising along the top rafters underneath the top deck, the balcony where their dogs were just hanging out like literally inches above it. The snake couldn't get to the dogs, but it was pretty crazy how this eastern brown was able to get up there. And then I guess for me, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. I rarely get nervous on jobs, but I got there and I was like, how the heck am I going to get this thing down without getting bitten in the face? So luckily I was able to do it and relocate it back to the bush. But, yeah, that was a pretty crazy one.
Oh, you're a brave man, Stuart. Thank you so much for joining us on News Breakfast this morning. Really great tips for everyone, especially there in Queensland. Oh, my goodness.
Not a budding snake catcher.
No, that is not a profession you'll see me taking on, but I think they're incredible. And as Stuart says, give them a call and don't try and kill or move a snake if you're in that
Great social
situation.
media videos as well.